Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Jasmine Lee. Taiwan's semiconductor industry plays a pivotal role in global supply chain. A newly released documentary, A Chip Odyssey, which took 5 years to produce, chronicles the rise of this history and the rise of the semiconductor industry in Taiwan, and is now gaining international attention. So today we're diving into how Taiwan became the world's leading foundry hub, and at the same time, how this industry is shaping the world politics. Join us today are Ben Zhang, the producer of A Chip Odyssey, also the CNEX co-founder and chairman, and Rocky Urin Kai, SciTech Power Research CEO. A very warm welcome to both of you on the show.
Thank you, Jasmine.
So first, I just want to say congratulations to Ben. I personally watched the film. I really love it, and I learned so much. I'm currently forcing all of my family members to watch the film. So let's begin. Like maybe you've been asked multiple times, but what inspired you to capture this part of the history?
Yes, A Chip Odyssey is a result of 5 years' work, as you just said. Actually, all began from a farewell because 5 years ago, our director, Xiao Juzhen, attended a memorial service of Mr. Hu Dinghua, who is the key figure of semiconductor industry. And during the memorial, she heard a lot of like the engineers and also the civil servants. They talk about the story. They're not talking about the technology. They all talk about how did they fought together for the journey side by side. All the very emotional experience that she never felt before. So she was deeply moved by what he saw. And she asked her friend that, are those stories being properly documented in the film? The answer was not really. And coincidentally, I have a friend, a tech company chairman at the same memorial. And after the ceremony, he actually called me, said, Ben, could you do something for these people? So we start digging the piece of the history, and eventually we join forces and become a team and work for 5 years. Yeah, and we didn't set out to glorify the industry or chips. We just want to understand how this little island can really become the essential to the modern world. And really the conviction, the long-term belief, and also perseverance make the whole industry possible. So we feel very fortunate and very honored that we have opportunity to capture the really last mile of those first generation of engineers who can share their life story with us.
And why does the film title A Chip Odyssey?
Right. If you're going to see this film, what we found is not really about just technology. It's actually a lot of human story behind all the technology. And Taiwan is never easy. So the whole technology building and all the shared purpose and the shared effort make Taiwan and make the whole industry possible. So that's what we call a chip odyssey. It's not just about the semiconductors. It's about how the group of people really, they answered the calling from what Taiwan really needed. And we thought this is a story that Taiwan needs to tell, and probably we invite all the Taiwan society and the world to hear it.
And Rocky also watched the film. So a very open question to you. What's your biggest takeaway from this film?
Honestly speaking, looking back, it's very difficult for me to remember any one of my classmates. You know that Ben knows that I majored in EE, right? I have a lot of classmates in EE. I couldn't remember, probably only one who had set up this goal to enter this field. No, at the very beginning, probably none of us had a clear plan to run into this, at least not in foundry. I guess now. So, but of course, later on, some of my classmates, they achieved great success in this field and became even millionaires, billionaires now. So my point is, there are really a lot of coincidences and the chance factors in this field. And there have been, of course, like Prime ministers Sun Yun-xuan and the KTD. They are great persons. They had a great view and setting up the great goals for the government. But at the very beginning, I don't think any one of them had expected the Taiwan will become like again a position like what it is right now. So a lot of chances. No wonder Ben will name it Odyssey. It's a really amazing journey.
And Ben, so you mentioned a little bit about the background of this history. At that time, Taiwan is receiving very, very high pressure internationally. The film at the beginning started from the early days of that period. This it is a mission of the national importance, and now become the global hub for the chip. So, from your view, how has the development of Taiwan semiconductor sector been shaped by the international landscape?
Well, as we know, the whole Taiwan semiconductor industry wasn't born or raised in a vacuum. It's actually alongside with all the global major events like the UN. Taiwan was pushed out from the UN, and also about the Cold War. And also the U.S. and Asian relationship changing, and globalization, and now it's de-risking, right? So I think Taiwan as a little island, I think probably the greatest strength is we never have the luxury of the size and the certainty. So we always, I think the conviction of all the leaders and all the people who are in the circle, in the industry, really make the whole thing possible.
So it's a people.
Yeah, it's a people. And all the engineers, the scientists, and also the leaders, they are not just reacting to the outside world, they are committing for the past finding. And I think that's something we saw in the film. It's really moving. And I think that's also quite inspiring for even half century later, because Taiwan has been still in a very, very complicated situation. I think that we hope the chips is just a service. What's beneath is the resilience. And that actually will become a, Taiwan can really survive, and also moving forward to really, among all the headwinds, that really lies behind is the resilient spirit.
And Rocky, what do you think is the key conditions that allow Taiwan to create the semiconductor miracles?
I would say talent.
Talent?
No, yeah.
So also the people?
Yeah, remember in the movie, they interviewed one of the engineers who were sent to RCA to study how to make chips.
Yeah.
One of them, he answered the question. He said, by that time when we were there, we noticed that most of the American workers, they are only, the educational background, only high school or even primary school. That's what he said. So, but we are graduates, we're college graduates. So in the back to 1990s, after TSMC was founded, it was easy for them to hire those graduate students from National Taiwan University, Tsinghua University, Jiao Tong University.
Colleges.
Only the top 4 universities, right? So people will say, oh, they are overqualified. They are doing fundamental jobs, engineer jobs, we're overqualified. Why they would like to do that? Because by that time, Morris Chang designed the system of the stock sharing, right? So it was really a good job, good return. So I would say that's that because of the talent, the system attracted a lot of good talents to go into this industry. That's why we become so competitive.
And do you still think that at this current moment, as Ben mentioned, that we're still facing very high international pressure at this current moment? So do you still think that talent is still the key for Taiwan to move forward this industry?
Still. Because when you're talking about the international situation, I believe you're talking about the geopolitics, right? Most of the origins of the geopolitics are from the competition between great powers, especially China and the US, right? So Taiwan needs to preserve our competitive edge, and that comes from the technology, and the technology invests in talent's mind. So we have to keep those competitive edge. Those are embedded in those talents and brains.
Yeah. So I wanted to highlight one of this statistic here. So according to TrendForce latest report, TSMC, they maintain its dominant position in the global foundry market in the first quarter of this year, holding a 67.6% share. And the later half of the film discussed the U.S.-China tech war and the challenges that Taiwan is facing right now under the Trump 2.0. So Ben, as now there are various multiple countries, they are hoping to localize their chip manufacturing, such as the U.S. Chip Act. So how do you think Taiwan can strike a balance between preserving our own competitiveness and strength, but at the same time strengthening international cooperations?
Yeah, I think TSMC, no doubt, is going to expand globally, and they are actually doing it.
Yes.
I think the real challenge is the whole ecosystem that really works in Taiwan. How does that work for the global? That is a big question, because Taiwan, I think in Taiwan, we saw in the science park, all the elements from semiconductors, they are working like in concert, that everything is just put together. The speed, the 24 hours monitoring, address all the problems. There's a lot of culture and also the density that really happens in Taiwan. So really, when we talk about globally expansion, of course, we want to preserve what's happening in Taiwan, but also we need to find a way to open collaborating with different countries. I think really what we need is a new model. It's a new model that's different from the past half century. We need a new paradigm that in the States or in Japan, or there are more sites, Taiwan should go beyond just a supplier. You should embed Taiwan role in, or even the success DNA in the global framework, that we go beyond just supplier, become a co-architect of the future. I think that's probably what we're looking for. There's something going to be change and make Taiwan be essential and relevant moving forward.
So we need a new framework.
Yeah.
And Rocky, so you also mentioned that a little bit. So the beginning of the Taiwan semiconductor industry actually started from international cooperation. You mentioned that Taiwan sent a group of very, very outstanding students to RCA in the U.S. So, but the time has changed at this current moment. How can we strengthen international cooperation, but at the same time, not giving away our best talents and our best technology?
Well, I think strengthening international cooperation and maintaining our competitive edge, they are not really contradictory. No, why people ask questions like what you just present, because people are worried that when TSMC going out to overseas, they call it the
hollowing out Taiwan,
holy mountain of the protecting the nation, right? That protecting the nation will be weakened or will be harmed. No, but I don't think so. I think when TSMC going out overseas, for example, they're going to Japan, to Germany, to Arizona in the US, it means TSMC can get those resources locally, right? It will strengthen TSMC capability. So, of course, TSMC used to be in the very good comfort zone in Taiwan only, but now they are forced to going globally. So they have to get used to the situation like this. So just face it and try to get all the resources, tap into all these resources. And that's a good thing for them. So I think it takes time, a little bit of time, and TSMC will get used to it.
Yeah. And recently, the Taiwanese government, they blacklist Chinese tech giants Huawei and SMIC. And the Financial Times noted that Taiwan is no longer just a passive player in the global supply chain, but a key player with the genuine ability to halt China's progress, and that the center of the global chip Cold War is shifting from Washington, D.C. to Taipei. So how might this move have an impact on the geopolitical landscape of the semiconductor industry, Rocky?
Of course, there will be a lot of great impacts, as I just mentioned. When you're talking about geopolitics, we mean the great powers, between the great power struggles between the great powers, especially China and the U.S., right? And Taiwan is really located at a very special position. We're so close to China. We're so far away from the United States. But we export our chips, advanced chips, to China, and both to China and the U.S. These two great powers, they both need Taiwan's help, right? Taiwan is able to help because we're still, especially TSMC, has the leading position in making good chips. I think, but still, these two great powers, they don't want to rely on Taiwan. That's why they're trying to build their own capability in making chips within their own territory at home. So I think Taiwan can help as long as we can still keep our leading capabilities in process technology. So, but we have to be careful when we're supporting. Yeah, when we're supporting this side, we have to be careful not to annoying the other side.
Yeah, because U.S.
It's not easy.
Yeah, U.S. is our allies, and they are also having the export control. So Taiwan is also facing a huge pressure from our international allies,
Exactly.
and we're intertwined within this tech competition between U.S. and China.
But I would say TSMC has done a very good job so far. Very good.
Yeah.
Not easy for them, but very good.
Yeah, not easy. Yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah, and Ben, a lot of people is calling for a sequel of this movie, and I know it is a documentary. But when you're filming this documentary, do you see a sequel, or what part of the history that you also wanted to document?
Well, this is a feature-length documentary film. It's like a movie, so it's 106 minutes. So we actually treat it as a one piece, not as like the series. We released about a month ago. It really triggered a lot of reaction, a big reaction from Taiwan society, which is something we're happy to see. And we're still working very hard to reach all the audience that this film deserves, and also the impact that it meant to be. But you ask the sequel if there's a next one, just for the sake of discussion. I think for this one, our film right now, the Chip Odyssey, is about how we get here. For the past 50 years, through all the uncertainty, we're not through luck, we're through a lot of long-term belief and also the shared efforts to really get here. I think the natural next one is how do we go from here? Where are we going to afterward? I think that would be a very good topic. It's a question for all the participants in this stakeholders. And we love to document what's happening afterwards. For example, like when Taiwan transport a lot of technology overseas, do we offer just the equipment? Do we offer something beyond equipment? Is there any culture side, human side? How do they synergize? And how do they potentially, probably there's some clash. How do we overcome the clash? I think that's a very interesting question. When you saw the film, we saw that's made in Taiwan, but in the future, probably it's going to be made with Taiwan, not made in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So how did that work? We're really love to see that if there's something coming up.
And I'm also very curious. So you said this film took 5 years to produce.
Yeah, it's a 5 years work.
But and we only see 1 hour
Yeah.
at the movie theater.
Yeah.
So there must be a lot of parts that couldn't be really put into the movie.
Yeah, we actually visit the director for 5 years. She visited more than 80 people, interviewees, including the first generation engineers, the technician, policymakers, and also all the people who has been moved away because the TSMC has to expand the site. Lots of interview footage cannot be just included in this 106 minutes. So we're actually going to package the whole footage, become a, what they call, it's become the oral history footage, and we donate to Tsinghua University and the Jiao Tong University library as an asset for future research.
That's definitely very, very valuable. And could you share with us, during this 5-year journey, what is your personal biggest takeaway from learning this and put really researching this part of the history?
I think that really struck us, Taiwan, Taiwan newspaper, for all the story that we collect, when we see all the media, Taiwan media are really talking about more about the numbers, more about the strategies, more about the ecosystem. It's not really covered much about the people side, the human side. So we flip the coin and show the audience how the faith and the belief of all the people to really make the whole thing possible. And that really relates to the love and all the conviction of all the people who are in the story. And that tells the story. We're trying to bridge the gap between the cross generation, because there's a lot of history, kind of just like you mentioned, the 小星星豆浆店 in the film. Just within like 50 years, there are a lot of history just vanishing.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. So we're trying to. This is our small act, our small contribution to make the history more complete and to bridge the gap between the cross generations. And I hope that will also offer more self-confidence, that when we look at the back half century, we know we can come from 0 to 1 and become really a top excellence. We have to give ourselves some credit, and we can collectively make Taiwan better and become the worldwide contributor for the next generation.
Yeah, and Rocky, you mentioned that earlier, that a lot of people, when they know that the TSMC is investing in the U.S., people are afraid that our best technology is going away. And Ben mentioned that he hoped this movie can give people some of that confidence. So do you agree that Taiwan is actually, maybe because of our geopolitical landscape, our history, that making Taiwanese people less confident, and that we need more faith in ourselves?
That's what Ben can do. For the next episode, even though it's not a serious thing, they were going to do that again. I think I would like to see more that how TSMC going abroad, like what their construction and operations in different countries, in Japan, Germany, and in the United States. So, and do some comparison, how they're doing there and how they were doing here in Taiwan. So yeah, what's the difference? So that we will be able to learn more why Taiwan has come to right moment, right? And so with that, those basic understanding, we will be able to look into the future to see what we're going to in the future, right? That's what I'm expecting from you.
Well, the real director is the God. So, definitely, I think the takeaway is really, like I said, it's a cross generation, but we really love to see how that spirit can carry Taiwan forward and really invent some of the new model that can really embed Taiwan in the global ecosystem. And I think that spirit, we hope that can, because of the film, that we hope to awaken a lot of young generation. Don't take this for granted. The success is not coming from easy. If there's some little hesitation or some kind of decision not as is, we are facing different result today. So please cherish it and don't take it for granted. And also, we hope the spirit can carry us upward and onwards.
I actually met with you, Ben, 3 years ago. And it's just a random encounter on the street.
On the street,
yeah. And you mentioned that to me, that you think Taiwan's semiconductor industry is actually pushing the humanity. Even you used the word civilization, and actually that I put that line in my heart for a really long time, and I really do believe that. And I think your film also demonstrate that. So I also wanted to ask, right now, at the current moment, you think that right now at the current moment, semiconductor development become very increasingly intertwined with politics. So, do you think Taiwan can once again change or turn these challenges into opportunities, and also what is the key to make that happen? And what's your message to younger generation?
That's a good question. As you know, I am also an entrepreneur. I co-founded a company, the tech company before. You know, every young generation can, you know, their fate can make a difference because technology changing. The mountain building, we say mountain making or mountain building because of technology shift. I think all the generations should pay high attention on what's coming up for the mountain building. You know, semiconductor, looking back the half century, 50 years, the mountain building doesn't stop. It still keep going. And the technology is coming like, you know, every other year. Like every other year, we are facing a totally different game. The reshuffle and all of the market situation is different. And all the crisis, all the reshuffling are opportunity.
Yes.
Same for Taiwan. So definitely Taiwan need to very keen, very, you know, keep very agile to really to face the changing. I think changing is not always bad. It's always opportunity.
Yes.
So how do we, you know, grab the opportunity to make Taiwan even better, fitter for the new, what we call civilization? The silicon or digital civilization is no turning back. It's going to make even stronger after 10 years. And Taiwan will be part of the heart, part of the central, to be even more essential. I think that's a big question to be answered. So just give you a little inside story. Our film, the subtitle, our film title is called A Chip Odyssey, but we have a subtitle. It's called Century Gambling, the century daring gamble for Taiwan. And originally we were a half century. The name was half century because it's 50 years looking back. But we later decide to take out the half century, become a century, because we figure the whole game is still only halfway.
Yeah, it's
Their
ongoing.
second half is to be written.
Yeah.
So we become a century gamble for our Chip Odyssey. Yeah.
And Rocky, do you think that Taiwan can turn these challenges into opportunity and maybe get a better position in the second half of this gamble?
I do believe so. It seems Ben focuses on human, people, culture more. Let me talk a little bit about technology, because now we're reaching under the 2 nanometers, right? Technology, the tech node. So there are a lot of new technology. If there are a lot of new technology, we need some new equipment, new materials to employ these new technologies. So Taiwan can do a lot of more to, probably we can get into the equipment sector, subsector industry, I mean into the chemicals, because we have the TSMC leading in the tech node, to under 2 nanometers, they call it 16A, 10A, or even 7A. So I think these are the opportunities for Taiwan to be more important. Still, as you said, still in the center of the whole industry, global industry.
Yeah, thank you, Rocky, and thank you, Ben, for your great insights. If you liked our show, please give us a thumbs up and click subscribe. Thank you for watching the show, and see you next time.